Hi guys, this is Mrs. Lyons. Today we are going to talk about synthesis reactions. And you should remember synthesis reactions are a reaction when something is formed, one product from two reactants. So our generic reaction for a synthesis reaction is A plus B. Those two elements combine to form a compound AB. Alright? Before we get into doing some examples of this synthesis reaction, I want to remind you of something. Some of you have been asking in class, where do you get those charges? What are you talking about when you say sodium is +1 and aluminum is +3? Remember when we looked back at bonding and ionic bonding, we said everything in group 1 has one valence electron, and it wants to lose that one valence electron, form +1 cations. Everything in group 2 wants to form +2 cations. Everything in group 3 wants to form, or group 13, +3 cations. Group 4 doesn't really form ionic bonds, it forms more covalent bonds. When we get to group 15, they have 5 valence electrons. They want to add 3, which would give them a -3 charge. Group 16 have 2 valence electrons. They want to gain 2 more. That would give them a -2 charge. Group 17 have 7 valence electrons. They want to gain 1 more, which would give them a -1 charge. And then group 18 don't bond because they're the noble gases. So when I'm talking about charges, this is where I'm getting those numbers from. So now that we've gone back and reviewed that really quick, let's look at what happens with these synthesis reactions. When I see a reaction, and I only am, in some of these examples, you're only going to see reactants, and you're going to have to identify, what is that going to do? The best way to identify a synthesis reaction is that we have two elements reacting. Okay, so sodium's an element, chlorine's an element. It's one of those Haber-Finkel elements, so we know it's Cl2. So if these two combine, we know we're going to have a compound made of sodium and chlorine. Now, we have to think about the charges because this is an ionic compound. So sodium, we said, was in group 1. It's got a +1 charge. Chlorine is in group 17. It's got a -1 charge. So if we crisscross those, we're going to just get NaCl. Okay, so when sodium and chlorine combine, they form NaCl. Now, the other thing I want you to think about is this a balanced chemical equation? And you should say, no, it's not balanced because I've got 2 chlorines here, only 1 on the product side. So I need to put a coefficient here, which now gives me 2 sodium, so I need to put a 2 for the coefficient over here, a 1 there, and now I'm balanced. Let's look at another example, aluminum and oxygen. When these two combine, we know we're going to form a compound of ALO. We're going to combine those two elements, but we have to think about charges. So if you look at your periodic table, aluminum is in group 13. It's got a +3 charge. Oxygen is in group 16. It's got a -2 charge. So if I crisscross these, I get Al2O3. So my reaction is aluminum plus oxygen reacts to form aluminum oxide. Is this balanced? No, it's not. So we need some coefficients to balance it. We've got 2 oxygens here, 3 oxygens here, so we need to get to a number that is equal. So I'm going to put a 2 here and a 3 here. That gives me 6 oxygen on each side. Now I have 2 times 2 is 4 aluminum. So now I have a balanced chemical equation. Couple more examples. If I combine barium and chlorine, I know I'm going to get something with barium and chlorine combined. Barium is +2, chlorine is -1. If we crisscross those, we get BaCl2. Look at that. This one is already balanced for us with ones. We have the same number of atoms in our products as our reactants. Last one, calcium plus nitrogen gives us, and I'm going to write it down here, CaN, calcium is +2, nitrogen is -3. Crisscross, we get Ca3N2. So all we need to do to balance this one is put a 3 out in front of the calcium. Okay, so that's synthesis reactions. I hope that helped. You should be able to predict products of synthesis. If you see two elements, you should know they're going to combine to form one compound. See you later.